are doing lesson 3-2, which is subtract integers. Okay, so you already started off your warm-up with an IXL, and that just gave you an idea of what we're working on today. So we're going to start with a number line. Now, in elementary school, you showed subtraction by moving to the left on the number line, correct? So here, when we have 5 minus 3, when we show 5 minus 3, we're going to start at the origin, and we will go to the right to show plus 5. So this is going to be a positive 5. And then, from there, we move to the left, because when we subtracted in elementary school, we moved to the left on the number line. So here, we ended up at 2, okay? So 5 minus 3, of course, you already know that, is equal to 2. So last week, we showed adding a negative integer by moving to the left on the number line. So here we showed 5 plus negative 3 as, first we put the positive 5 on the number line, and then we're adding the negative. When we add the negative, that means that we're going to go to the left. And again, we ended up at 2. Get that dot. We ended up at 2. So 5 plus negative 3 is equal to 2. Well, don't they look exactly the same? They look exactly the same. So isn't subtracting 3 the same thing as adding a negative 3? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So subtracting 3 from 5 is the same as adding a negative 3 to 5, because we get 2 for both of those. Make sure you know this. Make sure you write that down. So subtracting 3 from 5 is the same as adding a negative 3 to 5. So here's the rule. To subtract integers, you're going to add the additive inverse. You guys remember what the additive inverse is? That was a synonym for additive inverse. What was that? That was the opposite. Very good. So, the additive inverse is the opposite. That's the opposite. So, we are going to add the opposite when we are subtracting integers. Okay? The next example, we're going to use positive and negative tiles. Okay, so you're going to do some drawing. So example 1 is subtract integers using integer tiles. Okay? Subtract integers using integer tiles. So we want to find 5 minus a negative 7. Now, what are we starting with? We're starting with a 5. We're starting with 5 positives, right? Okay, so here we have 5 positives. Now, we want to subtract negative 7. Those are all positives, right? I have no negatives in there. Does everybody see that? So we need to somehow get some negatives on the board, okay? Now, do you guys remember last time we said a number plus its opposite is equal to what? 0, right? A number plus its opposite. So if I had 1 plus negative 1, that would be equal to 0, correct? When you add 0 to any number, what do you get?
0.
The same, no, you don't get 0. You get the same thing, right? So if I put this here and I added this to the 5 that are there, don't I still have 5? Yeah, because this is equal to 0. Is everybody with me? So if I add 7 of those, so here I've got, now I have 7 negatives, right? And they're paired up with 7 positives. So in actuality, didn't I add 0 and 0 and 0 and 0 and 0 and 0 and 0? Yeah, because that's a number plus its opposite. That's all equal to 0, right? So here I have 5 plus 0, that's still 5, right? So now I have some negatives on there. Now I have some negatives. Can I take 7 of them away? Yeah, I can take 7 of these negatives away. Take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I took away 7 negatives, and now what am I left with? How many, what do I have left? I have how many positives? 12. I have 12 positives. So 5 minus a negative 7 is equal to a positive 12. All right, so again, I'm not going to ask you, except for this letter B, I'm not going to ask you to draw pictures all the time to get your answers. The reason we're doing these number tiles is so that you understand why the rule works. Okay? So now I want you to do letter B with your number tiles. So for this problem, we're going to start with 10 positives. So now we need to get 19 negatives in there, right? So in order for us to put 19 negatives in there, I also have to put in 19 positives, right? So here, this is what we're putting in. This is 19 positives and 19 negatives. So what is this whole thing equal to? This whole thing that I'm shaking right there is equal to what? 0. So does it change the 10 yet? No, it doesn't change the 10. So now, do I have negatives to take away? Yeah, now I can take away the 19 negatives. So here, I'm going to take these out. There's 5. Here's 10 negatives I'm taking out. There's 15 negatives I'm taking out. And here's 4 more. So that's 5, 10, 15, 19 negatives that I've taken out. Now what's left? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 29 positives. Is everybody clear? So this is equal to a positive 29. So like I said, no more pictures. Now we're going to listen to the rule. So you guys remember the keep, change, flip? Multiplying by the reciprocal with multiplication? With subtraction, we're going to call it keep, change, change. Make sure you write that down. We're going to call that keep, change, change. We're going to keep the first number the same. The subtraction is going to change to addition. And the second integer is going to change to the opposite. Okay? So we're going to add the opposite. So if you have colors, this is how you're going to write it. So we're going to keep, change, change. We have 11 minus a negative 15. So the 11 stays the same. The subtraction becomes addition. And the second integer, the negative there, becomes a positive. And now we follow the rules for addition. So here we have 11 plus 15, which is 26. 26. If you don't have colors, you're going to rewrite, okay? So again, we're going to keep, change, change. We have negative 31 minus negative 45. So we're going to keep the first integer, negative 31. The subtraction becomes No, addition. And the negative 45 becomes a positive 45. And now we follow the rules for addition. So we are adding integers with different signs. What do I do to the numbers? So here we subtract the digits, subtract the digits, and then take the sign of the bigger digit. So 45 minus 31 is what? 14. And is it going to be positive or negative? It's going to be positive because 45 is the bigger number, and that is a positive. Is everybody clear? Okay, so now down here, I'm going to rewrite again. We're going to keep, change, change. Negative 39 minus 24. Negative 39 minus 24. So we're going to keep the first digit, negative 39. The subtraction becomes addition. Very good. And the positive 24 becomes a negative 24. And then we follow the rules for addition. What is the rule for adding integers with the same sign? So when we add integers with the same sign, you just add the digits and keep the same sign. So 39 plus 24 is, so this is going to be a negative 63. Negative 63. So example 3 is find the distance between the integers. So here it says Josh is 70 inches tall. His little cousin Hannah is 41 inches tall. What is the distance between their marks on the wall at their Auntie Tessa's house? All right, so the important information that you're going to write down is that Josh is 70 inches tall, Hannah is 41 inches tall, and we want to know the distance between their marks on the wall at their Auntie Tessa's house. So here we're going to, finding the distance, that means we're going to subtract. Is everybody clear? So we're finding the distance between 2 points, we subtract. So we're going to subtract 70 minus 41, and you already told me what it's going to give me? 29 inches. Very good. All right, for this example, it says the edge of a cliff overlooking a lake is 136 feet above sea level. The bottom of the lake is 126 feet below sea level. What is the distance between the cliff and the bottom of the lake? Now, here we have a cliff. See, there's my cliff right there. And that cliff right here, this height is 136 feet above sea level. Is that going to be a positive or a negative? Very good. So this is a positive 136 feet. Now, it says the bottom of the lake is 126 feet below sea level. So here we've got bottom of the lake. Okay, there's the lowest part right there, right here. And this says that it is 126 feet below sea level. Is that going to be a positive or a negative? That's going to be a negative. Very good. So down here, we've got a negative 126 feet. Okay? The question says, what is the distance? And again, when we're looking for distance between 2 points, what are we going to do? Subtract. Okay, we want to subtract those two numbers, the highest point minus the lowest point, right? So that means that we've got a positive 136 feet minus a negative 126 feet. So minus a negative 126 feet. Now, what's the rule? So we're going to keep change. So this subtraction, well, I'll rewrite. 136, subtraction becomes addition, and the negative 126 becomes a positive 126. And then we follow the rules for addition. So this is going to be 12, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2. So we end up with 262 feet. Does that make sense? Understand that it does make sense because we are adding that distance to this distance. We're just adding this to this. So that means that this is going to be the 262 feet. So now you're going to go back to your IXL that you started in the warm-up, and you're going to continue practicing with your subtracting integers.